If you ask any experienced pitcher or position player how to increase your arm strength or your arm speed, a lot of them are going to say through long toss. And this is not a bad answer because a lot of guys have seen huge improvements by just doing long toss. Now, what I wanted to offer you guys is a free long toss program for youth baseball players, because I think guys who are older know how to do long toss. They already have a routine. They already have their strategy. They get the idea. But for some of the younger guys, I just see guys stretching it out, airing it out, and they don't really have an idea of what they're doing. So this is kind of a free program, a free video, free long toss program for youth baseball players, if you will. So I've got a few tips for you coaches who are watching this, or younger guys who are watching this, if you're trying to increase your arm strength and your arm speed. The first thing and the most important thing is we don't want to use long toss to warm up. We want to warm up before we do our long toss. So we don't want to just get up, grab a ball, grab a partner, and start playing catch nice and easy to warm us up. We want to be fully warm and sweating before we pick up a baseball, okay? So that's rule number one. That's the most important thing, and I think we get that backwards sometimes in baseball, especially at the youth level. So let's make sure we're fully warm. We can do a dynamic warm up, some jogs around the field, just making sure we're sweating. My number one rule, I have a pitching velocity camp every year, and the number one rule of that camp is you cannot touch a baseball until you are sweating, okay? So that's a good general rule of thumb. If you're sweating, you're good to go. The second tip is that there's no real distance that you have to get out to. There's no, we don't have to get to 150, 180, 210, 300. Some guys like to stretch it out. I don't think there's any youth players reaching 300 feet. But there's no distance no matter what age you are. There's no specific set that we have to get to. The idea is that we want to increase our intensity and number of throws over time. Now, distance can help with our intensity, but it isn't the end all be all. Meaning, I can throw at 100% 10 feet away from this fence, and I could also throw at 100% at 150 feet away from me, right? So the intensity is the important part, not the distance. The distance comes into play, in my opinion, on the way out, because the way out is the way we like to use to stretch it out. You may have heard this called the extension phase if you're familiar with Jaeger or the Jaeger bands, which, by the way, I definitely recommend getting some J bands. J bands makes a youth version. In fact, I sell them on my website. So if you're interested in supporting my eating habits and give me a little extra cash flow, go ahead and order them from my website. But again, they make a youth size. It's great. Actually, in fact, I suggest using the Jaeger Band Juniors for all guys, high school guys, even myself as a former professional pitcher. I just use the juniors because you can step back and make it harder, or step in and make it easier. So for all ages, that's what I would use. So after we get through our extension phase, once we get to that point that we don't want to go any further, then we can start to bring it in. And Jaeger calls this pull down phase. And to me, this is where you really want to start letting it fly. So just keep it on a line and get that 100% intensity out of your body. Now, there's a few things that you want to make sure that are not happening before you let it fly like that. First, you got to make sure you're not sore, tired, tight, or hurt. If you're one of those four things, then you don't want to let it fly at 100% intensity. You have to listen to your arm, okay? If your arm's feeling tired, tight, sore, again, pain, let's not do it, okay? Maybe we don't even throw that day. So you got to start listening to your arm. But if you are feeling good, this is the time to let that sucker fly then and get some of that intensity out of your body, because this is really where the gains are going to happen. When you're letting this thing rip and going full effort, maximum effort with these throws, you're building yourself up, okay? And again, it's intensity and number of throws over time. So this is where the magic happens. This is where the meat is. So if you're feeling good, let that thing fly. Another tip that I want to share with you guys is to make sure you're using your whole body. I see a lot of guys just throwing with all arm too much, too often, right? So we want to make sure we're using our body when we're long tossing, okay? You want to make sure you're getting your feet underneath you and getting a good step behind before you throw that ball, okay? Use your whole body, create some momentum, create some energy so that it's easier to throw that ball faster. And lastly, don't overthrow, okay? If you're pitching a lot that week, maybe you're taking off, okay? If you're feeling sore, tired, tight, or pain, you're definitely not throwing, okay? It all comes back to listening to your arm. You don't want to overthrow. You've only got one throwing arm. The most important stat for a pitcher is innings pitched. Because if you're not pitching, that means you're hurt or you're stinking. So innings pitched is the most important. We don't want to hurt our arm. We've only got one throwing arm. So make sure you're warmed up. Make sure you got good extension. And then bringing it in, having good intensity on the way in. Make sure you're progressing it over time. Make sure you're not throwing too much. And then make sure that you are getting your body into these throws. Be smart, listen to your arm. Guys, I've got a free video that I call the Velocity Extractor, where I show you exactly how you can extract some hidden velocity that you already have within your body and instantly get it out. You can see instant results with this video. So if you're interested in that, click the first link down in the description below. It's gonna take you to a page where you enter your first name and your email, and then I'm gonna shoot that video right over to you. You're gonna check that video out. And then over the next few days and weeks after that, I'm gonna shoot you some more great throwing advice, arm care advice, pitching advice. All my best stuff is coming your way. So if you're interested in the Velocity Extractor video, go ahead and do that right now because it's a game changer, I'm telling you. And I'll see you guys over there. Thank you so much for watching.